the white pine logging era.
It's cool that there's still some white pines here.
Yeah, they used to stretch as far as the eye could see.
Critical questions. How did logging impact rivers? What's the environmental cost of bores?
When we were settling the country, it was absolutely critical for us to build the infrastructure. And logging was a major business in Michigan, but there were repercussions of that.
Huge native white pine trees was the predominant wood that they were after. Cut them with two-man hand saws, transporting them and pulling them to rivers, floating them down the rivers, standing on the logs to make sure they didn't jam, and then getting them to a mill to cut.
So from the 1840s through the 60s, every tree within miles, within 100 miles of here, was gone. Absolutely cut, rolled into the river, along with the sediments that came off that barren hillside and floated in a series of explosions down through town so they could cut them up and send them down to Chicago and have them build it a couple times.
You can only imagine what kind of devastation that would have on the actual channel shape, the diversity, the morphology, the hydrology, all those key pieces to good habitat for fish.
Because of that devastation, almost every species in the Boardman River was negatively impacted. And one of the repercussions is the elimination of the grayling population in the Boardman River.
All that life that was destroyed, literally destroyed and murdered in that moment. So it didn't just impact us two-leggeds, it impacted that spirit world. And in our Indian way of life, we are connected to that world. We were put here to learn from that and to take care of it.
Where I come from, it's called Xinguak Zibing. And Xinguak, it means white pine, and Zibing is the river. So we understand that process of the river. And those are very important to us. And when they came in and they clear-cut our white pine, those are like our buffalo to the Western tribes. They took away our livelihood and who we were. And one of our elders said that the white pine, we have not mourned the loss of our white pine.
We know that the invention of electricity reshaped our lives forever, but it also reshaped the ecological lives of rivers across America, including this one.
1881, Edison invents the light bulb. By 1889, hydro dams are going up all over the country. The only power they had in Traverse City at the time was from coal and wood right downtown. There was one building with electricity at that time.
As our nation developed, there was a need for the hydroelectric. That was one of the methodologies of growing our electricity, which grows our economy and provides services to our citizens.
Back in 1894, when we constructed the first hydro dam,
the dams were new to the Boardman River. Obviously, at that time, it looked like a great thing, a way to generate electricity, and electricity is up and coming.
They saw opportunities to utilize natural resources, and they did.
It was just, let's use the resource however we want to use it. Let's abuse the resource, just like the trees that were cut, to get the maximum benefit, dollar benefit out of it.
And that they brought their values and their perspectives of what they wanted out of life and changed it.
And use does not mean abuse or change. And some of the changes that have come through the Boardman Valley have been abusive. Man using his force. Man, American men.
But we don't understand what it did to the river that was naturally there and the species that did exist there that no longer exists there, because when we impounded it, we warmed the water. We changed the composition of the landscape. You can't go forward looking in a rearview mirror, and you have to understand that nobody put those dams in place thinking they were going to have negative, adverse effects on our environment. That didn't happen. The dams were an important part of our region at that time. It was important for the people at that time. We've moved beyond that. We know better now. We have better science in place, and we have a better understanding of our natural environment.